Technical difficulties there. Oh my gosh, again, this, guys, okay, if anybody has a really good iPhone tripod, would you just pop me a little message, let me know? That'd be super duper. Hello, welcome to the 20-minute cooking school. The easy, fast tricks and tips that make your cooking that much easier, more fun, and more delicious. Hello, I am Claire Tansey. It is lovely to have you here today. I have to start peeling apples because otherwise I'm not going to get to all the apples. Okay, so what we're talking about today is apples. And the big question that I get all the time is like, oh, apple, they'll say, oh, I'm making an apple pie or making an apple crisp, making applesauce. Oh, really? Now, what type of apple do you like for your, apple pie? Well, what type of apple do you like to use for your apple crisp? And it's as if the answer will either let you into a secret club, like, the Stonecutters, or if you answer the wrong thing, then you will be forever deemed a dunce who doesn't know what type of flippin' apples you're supposed to use when you're making a pie. So, are you ready? I'm going to break it to you. What of these is the best apple for cooking, say pie, crisp, or what we're doing today, sauteed apples? I've got Honey Crisp, a beauty. I've got Empire. Okay, Empire, option 2. I will take votes. I've got No Name here. Poor No Name. I think he's like a Sweet Tango, which is probably a brand name, but I don't know. Okay, there's him. Another No Name. Looks a lot like an Empire to me. This little baby Gala. He came out of a bag. Here's a big Gala. He came out of a bin. Here is Ida Red. Okay, and here is another Honey Crisp. Okay, of these apples, which is the best one for making pie? Any guesses? Allison Fryer, I bet you've got a guess. Mike Tansey, come on. What type did your mom used to make pies with? Here's the answer, guys. It's the best answer in the world. They're all good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The difference between an eating apple and a cooking apple is 0. There is no difference. What am I doing? I need to start peeling apples. There is no difference between an eating apple and a cooking apple. Here's what will be different. You will get some differences in texture. So, for example, the Macintosh apple, delicious to some, not to me, unfortunately. I find their skin a little too thick. So I know I should be like super patriotic, Macintosh apple, developed, discovered by a Canadian, should be very patriotic and love that, but I just don't. But that's fine. But good for eating, very tart, very crunchy. Macintosh apples tend to, when you cook them, break down quite a bit. So they're actually so good for applesauce. And they're good for pie if you like kind of a nice smooshy, lovely pie filling. I know, it was the only clean apron I had, Allison. My Ambition Nutrition apron. My apron's got a little bit hammered this week and I haven't done the laundry yet. So that's Macs. Macs break down quite a bit. I don't actually love them for eating, as I said. Probably the only apple I don't love for eating. But also good, any type of apple. So then another apple, like say a Granny Smith, another apple that I don't particularly love for eating because I find it a bit too tart, it really quite retains its shape a bit more when you cook it. But honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what type of apple you use because they're all good. Of course, I would say the only really important thing that you should do is look for, I live in Ontario, so I always look for that guy, the local apple. It's November, it's apple season, right? Yeah, exactly, Aaron. Buy Macs in big bags for applesauce. You know what else I buy in bags is Gala apples because they're so little. And you know what this is perfect for? Lunch boxes. Now, I know a lot of you moms out there feel like you're sending the same damn apple to school. It comes back every day. You just send that apple back to school. You put him back in the game. Am I talking the right? But these are actually, Thomas loves these. He's a fruit monster. He'll eat any kind of fruit. So I can pack 2 of these in his lunch. And sometimes he'll eat 1, sometimes he'll eat 2, but they're just the perfect size. So I always buy those in a bag. Do you mix your apple varieties when using them? Good question, Allison. I usually tend to mix the varieties because I always seem to have, there's always a sad, lonely apple or two rolling around in the crisper. Does this happen to anybody else? You buy a bag of apples, you put them in the crisper, which by the way is where you should store apples. You should store apples in the fridge. And in fact, when you buy apples, you should feel them all. You should be that weirdo in the grocery store who's feeling all the apples, and you should always choose the cold ones. If the apples in the grocery store don't feel cold, they're not going to be as fresh. That's what we in the grocery business is called temperature abuse. It's not the kind of abuse that you need to call anybody about, but if you want a really crunchy, crispy apple, go for the cold ones. So anyways, you buy your bag of apples and you just you chuck it in the fridge. And one of them always rolls out of the bag. Mine, at least, always does. And I have 3 apples. I'm going to stop. I'm going to do a 4th one. Who cares? So inevitably, I'll be going into the crisper to kind of go through, oh, what have I got? You know, what needs to be used up? And I'll be like, ah, crap, here's an apple. It's lost its sticker. I don't know what kind it is. Oh, and here's another apple. You know what? I think I'll make an apple crisp, or I'll do some sauteed apples tonight. And so it'll end up being like 1 Gala, 1 Honey Crisp, maybe a Mutsu or a Crispin. Actually, I think the same thing. Anyway, the whole point of this entire long story is to say, it doesn't matter. Buy whatever apples you like. There are so many different varieties out there. I know my mother has gone completely gaga for the Honey Crisp apple, which I also love. The Honey Crisp, did you know, are bred to be large? They're bred to be quite big. So look at the difference between Honey Crisp here and Baby Gala. So you can see why this is good for my kid. And even this, it's like, that's a lot of apple. You know, if I wanted a 20-ounce ribeye, I'd go to the keg. It's a bit of a non sequitur. Okay, so what's going to happen then is I'm actually going to mix up all the different varieties of apple here. And so some of the apple slices are going to break down a little bit more because they're just naturally more soft and more tender. And some of them are going to hold their shape a little bit more, but it's going to make for a really delicious texture. And that goes for applesauce, apple pie, apple crisp, apple muffins, whatever you're baking with apples. Buy the apples that you like to eat and then use the leftovers in your baking or whatever. So good. I know, Honey Crisp, so good, right? Honey Crisp is such a great apple. Very expensive, agreed. They're always the most expensive apple I find at the store. So I'm going to just tell you the way, show you the way I cut apples. I've given up coring apples with, like, you know, cutting them into quarters. Then you take your paring knife and you get the core out. Here's the real way. Here's the fast way. When you're doing a ton of apples, because you're making a pie, you just slice off the edges. And before anybody loses their marbles and says, Claire, look at all the apple you're wasting. But I am not finished, my friends. Then you go in and you take off the corners. Yes, yes. You see? You see? You see? You see? So now I've got all that and that. And then this stem can go in the compost. Now, I believe my friend Aimee actually has a recipe for making tea with roasted apple, like cores and stems. So I will look that up because I think that's actually in her new book, Simple Bites Kitchen. But let's show you that time-saving apple coring. Oh, this apple, completely different texture from the last one, and getting a little bit funkadelic on the inside. Not worried at all. We're gonna cook these babies, not worried. Hey, if you are with me, it is so nice to have you here. Please let me know if you have questions about apples, about what to do with them, how to store them, how to eat them, how to chop them, how to peel them. It is apple season right now where I live, and I couldn't be happier. They are such a wonderful fruit. I'm so just love apples. I just love apples. I love them all. And they're really easy to find and easy to deal with. And like I said, you put them in the crisper and or whatever, in the fridge. You know, like I just put them in the plastic bag that they come in. Let's turn you down a bit. And in the fridge, they last. They last and last and last and last and last. So it's like, you know, you buy a banana and like 3 days later, you and the banana are either at one because you've eaten it, or the banana's going in the freezer for banana bread, right? So bananas have a kind of a shorter shelf life. Berries, don't even get me started. It's like I've had one night stands longer than I've had berries. And apples, on the other hand, are, you know what? They are kind of like the long-term love affair of the fruit world. You get them, you eat them. I don't know where exactly I'm going with this analogy. I'll stop. Guys, let's just talk about cooking here. So, what am I doing here? I'm going to make a mess. I'm going to do a really quick, easy weeknight dessert, kind of inspired by a dessert my mom used to make when we were kids. It's just a warm sauteed apple with caramel sauce, and you could have this, you could just have this plain in a bowl, just don't need very much of it. You could put it over ice cream, you could put it over plain yogurt, you could put it over, like have it with some cookies or something. It's just a nice, easy, quick dinner, weeknight dessert, and it's so good. It's caramel and apples. It's really, really good. Quick question. Have I ever tried cooking the russet apple? The russet apple, I don't cook with as much. Russet apple, much like a Bosc pear, has that kind of a rusted-y color on the outside. And it's a bit firmer. It will cook in the same, it will also cook, like you can cook them down, Arlene, but it'll hold its shape just a little bit better. Does you know what I mean? So it'll sort of like stay slightly chewy, to the tooth, al dente. 412, we are moving on. Okay, so I'm gonna saute these apples in a little bit of butter. I got a couple tablespoons of butter here, and going to put these apples in here, about medium-ish heat. Important to use salted butter. If you don't use salted butter, then you're going to want to use some, put some salt in when we add the brown sugar next. Caramel is just, I mean, as we know from the like absolute outbreak of salted caramel everything. I mean, I think, you know, you can get salted caramel body scrub, you can get salted caramel Cheerios probably, I don't know. So salt and caramel is just a good combination. The salt sort of like mitigates the intense sweetness of the caramel. So those are in there with the salted butter, a couple of tablespoons full. And, alrighty, can you see these little beauties here? There you go. Look at them. Oh, and here are all the rest. So all these apples are still good for eating. Now, meanwhile, we'll go back here. Give these guys a little wee stir. It was really cold in my house today. I wasn't really cooking today. I was more like sitting at my desk doing the, hey Lori! Sitting at my desk doing writing and, you know, pitching and invoicing and all those other delightful things. After, of course, I had to take my kid to the doctor this morning, which, like, basically you lose half your day, right? Between getting to the doctor, then, of course, the kid's got to have some kind of a treat after having gone to the doctor. Then you got to go back, and you got to go to school, then you got to get the late slip anyway, then you got to come home and, like, have 3 martinis and, like, honestly, you know, right? You got a blizzard happening? Actually, I heard that from Ellen Pruden this morning that you guys were having a snow day. That's fun. Thanks. The leggings. Pineapple leggings. I think I've entered the leggings phase of my life again. When I was in university, I was a big fan of the legging. Leggings, the big oversized wool sweater. Bought an oversized wool sweater last week. Bought some new leggings 2 weeks ago. It's gonna be a nice, comfortable winter. Okay, so those guys are gonna cook till they're just kind of soft-ish. And I'm gonna get the brown sugar. Here we go, brown sugar. So to make caramel, usually you take white sugar and caramelize it, which if you've done it before can be a little bit terrifying because it turns from like Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde and back again in a split second. So an easier, much easier way to make caramel, a lot less authentic, a lot less like official, is to use brown sugar instead of white sugar. Excusez-moi. So brown sugar, and this is the upside down, yes, upside down and backwards. This is golden sugar. You can get dark sugar, dark brown sugar. You know what I'm talking about, right? I sort of grabbed whatever is closest to hand, and I want 1/4 cup, and of course I don't have a 1/4 cup measure available. So anyway, I'll just put that here. Listen, this is 1/3 cup measure, so I'm going to use not quite the entire cupful. Brown sugar is just sugar with molasses added to it, and that's what makes it either dark or like really dark. This depends on how much molasses it's in there. The darker it is, the kind of more molassesy in flavor it'll be, and the more wet, damp, moist. Anyone? Anyone? Allison, I use them interchangeably, and I've made this caramel with dark and with golden, so I think it's really just a flavor thing. I don't know if the people at Sugartown, Red Past Sugar, would agree with me or not. Feel free to call me if you like. And I know that sugar has this really, really great reputation right now as being just like so good for you, and everybody, okay, no. But I'll tell you what about sugar. There are a lot of people out there who believe that natural sweeteners are better for you than sugar, like white sugar or brown sugar. So like something like an agave or a maple syrup or a honey. Guess what? Hot tip. Sugar is sugar! You people, your body interprets sugar the same way, no matter if it's brown sugar, white sugar, agave, maple syrup, sugar from apples. Your body interprets it the same way. There is nothing that's either better or worse for you. And you know what else? You think you call these natural sugars, you think a white sugar isn't natural? Where do you think it comes from? A rock? A chemical factory? It comes from sugar cane. Grown. It's a plant. I'll just get off my soapbox now. I'll go and stand over here. Damp? You think damp is a good word? Sometimes moist and damp are not good words you want to use around food. So listen, you can see that I have a real melange. Oh boy, we only got 3 minutes left. Activate! These are getting quite nice and soft. Some of them are getting softer than others just because I have different varieties in there. So once these are nice and soft, I'm just going to take them out of here for a minute. Throw a few on the, throw a few on the counter. Chuck in another couple tablespoons of butter. Melt that up. This is where things get caramelly and fantastic. Okay, where is my spoon? So I'm going to actually grab a whisk here. And I do have the brandy standing by, but I thought I would actually just make this without brandy. If you want to add 2 tablespoons of brandy at the end, I'll link to the recipe. Some people don't like to feed alcohol to their children. It's probably not a bad idea. So you can skip or not skip. This is actually the crappy brandy I have for the Christmas cake. So frankly, I think we're fine to skip it, right? Okay, I gotta show you this. Shell, you're seriously watching from the hunting blind? You have Wi-Fi in the hunting blind? I gotta come hunting with you, obviously. All right, here, Melty McButtery. So remember I said if you were using unsalted butter, you need to add salt. Add now. Add it now! But I'm just gonna whisk these two together. You know what? It didn't need the whisk. I just dirtied an extra utensil. Now I'm really mad at myself. I'll get over it. It can go in the dishwasher. So you'll see that the caramel will sort of start to come together here. It looks a bit granular right now. But what will happen in about 2 minutes is the brown sugar will melt into the butter. And just see how that comes up and starts to boil. See how that's kind of boiling a bit there? Nice even coverage of bubbles. Very nice. So what's happening in the pan right now is that the brown sugar, all the little granules of brown sugar are, sorry, I'm just loving that Allison and Shell and Aaron all know each other, and it's such a small world. I love all y'all. The granules of brown sugar are melting, and they are forming some kind of unbreakable chemical bond with the butter. Unbreakable, delicious chemical bond. You know what? Since we're here, and I know we're going to go a minute over time, for which I apologize, but I'm going to blame it on the brandy. So let's add a little teeny splash of brandy, and this is where it gets scary because it's going to get really spattery, but don't worry. Woo! And you think, crap, I ruined it. Stay with me, my friend. Stay with me. Yeah, baby. Stay with me. It's going to smooth itself out. Then we're gonna add these guys back in. And oh yeah. And then the tartness of the apple, along with the salt from the salted butter, is gonna really just sort of temper the intense sweetness of the caramel. Oh my gosh. Is anybody else's mouth watering? This smells so good. Listen, tip. Do not taste it at this point. You will give yourself a burn of epic proportions. I have done that before. Hot sugar and butter together is dark rum will do. Yes, dark rum will do. Any kind of brown liquor will do. Dark rum, Crown Royal, whiskey of any kind. Do not touch this yet. Do not touch this yet. But let's just pour this. You know, we're already a minute over time, so you know what? We're going to go an extra minute. Here we go. Okay. Look, gang. Look, gang. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So what you've got here, do not. You are going to be so tempted to lick the spatula. Do not lick the spatula. Do not lick the spatula. Astrid, 3 apples. I put in 4 actually. 4 with 2 tablespoons of butter, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and then another 2 tablespoons of butter to saute the apples. That's it. I put in a splash of brandy, maybe a couple tablespoons full. I will link to a recipe, but oh my gosh, it smells so good. So caramelly and yummy. And like I said, again, do not, okay, this is the last time I'll warn you, do not taste this yet because the caramel, it smells so good. The caramel will burn your tongue, it'll burn your lips. And then you'll write me a mean letter. Guys, this is 20-minute cooking school. Have fun with apples. Don't forget that there is no difference between cooking apples and eating apples. Eat them all, cook with them all, just enjoy them. They're in season now in most of the world, so enjoy. Next week, I think I'm gonna make no-knead bread because I cracked the code, you guys. Like, I came to like an epic illumination moment in bread baking. So I think I'll do bread next week. And have fun. Let me know if you make it and how you liked it. Until next week, this has been 20-minute cooking school. I'm Claire Tansey from Claire Tansey's Kitchen. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Bye.